a peaceful horse farm in the countryside, there was a young woman named Mitchell. She loved caring for the horses, waking up each morning with excitement for the day ahead. While others might find the work tough and dirty, Mitchell saw it as pure joy. The horses were more than just animals to her. They were like family. The stable was her safe haven, a place where she felt truly happy, surrounded by the gentle giants she cherished so much. But in her own peaceful world, a shadow loomed that disturbed her calm. Ethan, the son of Mr. Charles, the farm's owner, often visited with his friend. They found it amusing to tease Mitchell, mocking her for spending time with horses instead of people. They just couldn't understand why she preferred animals over their company. Their teasing, once playful, had turned mean. Mitchell usually ignored them, staying focused on her work. But today was different. Their cruel words cut deep, and for the first time, she felt a wave of anger she couldn't hold back. In a moment of frustration, Mitchell decided to take a drastic step she had never considered before. She walked straight to the stable, where Apollo, the farm's most unpredictable horse, was kept. Apollo was a striking white stallion known for his fierce temperament and powerful presence. No one dared to approach him, but Mitchell's anger had clouded her judgment. Without a second thought, she opened Apollo's stable door, a bold move that even startled her. The stallion snorted and stomped his feet, clearly sensing the tension in the air. Seeing the door swing open, Ethan and his friend turned pale. They realized they had pushed Mitchell too far. Fearful of what might happen, they fled from the farm as quickly as they could, rushing straight to Mr. Charles to report Mitchell. Ethan, breathless and anxious, told the story to Mr. Charles, who listened carefully. Mr. Charles knew his son well and understood that Ethan and his friend had been teasing Mitchell. Despite this, he assured Ethan that he would speak to Mitchell about her behavior. Ethan, however, wasn't content with just a warning. He wanted revenge. Little did Mitchell know, her impulsive act had set off a chain of events that would soon lead to a dangerous situation created by Ethan's need for payback. But before we delve deeper into the story, don't forget to subscribe to The Wild Wonder and give that like button a tap. Let's continue the story. Apollo's pen, aiming to scare her as payback for her daring move. The next day, they watched for the perfect opportunity. They saw Mitchell focused on grooming a calm horse, completely absorbed in her work. This was their chance. One of the boys approached her, acting as if he was really worried. He told her that one of the horses wasn't eating and seemed sick, asking her to check on it immediately. His concern seemed genuine, and Mitchell, always eager to help, followed him without questioning. They deliberately left out which horse was ill, knowing she'd be hesitant if they mentioned Apollo. As they neared Apollo's pen, the other boy hid close by, ready to spring their trap. The boy leading Mitchell continued his act, making it seem like there was a serious problem. Mitchell's heart raced as she approached the pen, her mind focused on helping the sick horse. Without thinking, she stepped into the pen, only to hear a loud click as the padlock shut behind her. The boys burst into laughter, their cruel prank now clear. Mitchell's heart sank as she realized she was trapped inside Apollo's pen, with no way to escape and no one to help her. The massive stallion stood just a few feet away, his intense gaze fixed on Mitchell. He seemed curious but wary, picking up on the sudden shift in the air. Mitchell knew that horses were highly sensitive to sudden movements or signs of fear, so she made sure to move slowly and calmly. Inside, she felt a surge of panic, but she tried hard to keep her composure. She recalled a story about Liam, another stable boy who had once tried to prank Apollo by sneaking up behind him. The horse had reacted violently, delivering a powerful kick that landed Liam in the hospital. Just thinking about it sent a shiver down her spine. The boys watched from a distance, eager to see the trouble they had hoped to stir up. They expected Apollo to lash out aggressively, but the stallion remained more curious than hostile. Mitchell took a deep breath, focusing on her knowledge of horse behavior. She knew she couldn't show any fear. Gently, she extended her hand toward Apollo, speaking in a soft, soothing tone. She avoided looking him directly in the eye, knowing that could be interpreted as a challenge. To her surprise, Apollo responded with surprising gentleness. He sniffed her hand and allowed her to stroke his head, a rare sign of trust from the stallion. The boys' laughter faded as they watched in shock, Instead of the chaos they had hoped for, they saw something truly remarkable. Apollo, the horse they feared and couldn't tame, lowered his head and nudged Mitchell, as if inviting her to climb onto his back. Mitchell hesitated, her heart racing. She had never imagined riding Apollo, especially not in this situation. Yet, she felt a strange connection with the stallion, a bond that seemed to form in that tense moment. With a mix of nerves and excitement, she accepted his offer. Carefully, she climbed onto Apollo's back, feeling his powerful muscles beneath her. The stallion didn't push her away. Instead, he appeared to embrace her presence. As they rode together, Mitchell experienced a thrilling rush of freedom. The fear and tension that had held her were replaced by a profound sense of unity with Apollo. The wind whipped through her hair as Apollo carried her smoothly across the farm, his hooves beating a steady rhythm on the ground. For that brief moment, it felt like they were alone in the world, perfectly in sync with each other. When they returned to the stables, the scene was entirely different. The boys who had mocked and teased Mitchell now stood in awe, their faces reflecting a mix of shock and admiration. They had never seen anything like this before. The girl they had ridiculed for loving horses had just formed an incredible bond with the most feared horse on the farm. Their laughter had turned to silence, replaced by a newfound respect for Mitchell. But what the boys didn't know was that this wasn't the first time Mitchell and Apollo had encountered each other. A few weeks earlier, during one of her quiet moments in the stable, Mitchell had noticed Apollo watching her from his pen. She had approached slowly, not wanting to startle him. To her surprise, Apollo had cautiously come closer, sniffing the air as if trying to figure out who she was. In that brief encounter, Mitchell had felt a connection with the stallion, but she hadn't dared to believe it was real. Now, after their unexpected ride together, that connection was undeniable. Mitchell dismounted from Apollo, her legs trembling slightly from the adrenaline. She approached the stable boys, who were still staring at her in disbelief. Instead of scolding them, she spoke with a calm, steady voice. She explained how much the horses meant to her, how they were more than just animals. They were her friends, her family. The stable was her sanctuary, a place where she felt safe and fulfilled. Her words seemed to touch the boys deeply. They had always viewed the horses as just another part of the farm, something to care for because it was their duty. But hearing Mitchell talk with such passion made them see things differently. They began to understand why she loved the horses so much and why she spent so much time with them. It wasn't just about the work, it was about the special bond she had with the animals, something they had never really noticed before. That's all for today. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts about this story. What's the next story you'd like to know? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any of these amazing videos on the Wild Wonder.